Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 90 Degree Show, hosted by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. And here's your host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
Good evening and welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I am your host, Joe Beard, and happy to be of service for you tonight. Today is September 27th, 2015, 5 o'clock on the West Coast and 8 o'clock on the East Coast. We appreciate all those listening in live and listening in podcast form, whether through iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, our website, Twitter, Facebook, the interwebs, or wherever you are on the interwebs this evening. At the end of the broadcast, if you decide you like the show, then we appreciate a donation to the network, if you feel so in your heart, of course. Just simply go to themarchingpodcast.com and click on the donate button to help improve the show and help build our scholarship fund. All right. Well, we are at week 4. All right, everyone, 2015 season of the 90 Degree Show. Happy to be with you for another year to talk about our beloved schools. This year, again, we have a round table of experts. And again, it's time for you to open up and give us a call and be part of our show. I want to introduce our panel. As you know, we're kicking off for 2015 the great Christy Walker, the great Rashad Watters, and the great Ashlee Nicole. I'm not sure. I think Ashlee will be with us tonight, and I believe Rashad will be with us tonight. Want to send our thoughts and prayers for Christy. She says she just recovered from the hospital. Not sure what procedure or what was going on, but she's okay. But we want to say always throwing it up there for good old Christy, making sure everything's okay with her. So it'll be we won't be full strength tonight, but again, if you want to give us a call in and tell us what you saw here week 4, again, 718-664-6025, the number you see there on your screen. So tonight we're going to talk about week 4, or let me look in the queue right quick. And I think we got the great Rashad Watters. What's going on, Rashad?
Yo. What's happening, sir?
Nothing, man. How was your week, man?
My week was very good, man. Just pushing ahead all the time, bro. You know how we do, man.
I heard that. Well, that's outstanding. Thanks for being on the show with us tonight. Tonight, week 4 had lots of good matchups. I mean, it was, as soon as, I looked at the schedule, I just kind of slept on it. But then when the actual Thursday hit and I saw what was going on, it hit you kind of like a brick. But we have, a highlighted matchup, FAM and Tennessee State. But I saw the Circle City Classic was this weekend. The State Fair Classic. Well, the Circle City Classic this year was Kentucky State and, oh, man, I'm drawing a blank here. Kentucky State. Oh, and Morgan State. No. Man, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank here on the show. You say what now?
What are you trying to remember?
The Circle City Classic for 2015. I know Kentucky State.
Howard and Morgan State.
No, that was the Chicago Football Classic. Because I know we're going to talk about that. But the Circle City Classic was Kentucky State and somebody else, and I forgot. And I actually watched the other band, but I'll come back to it. It'll come back to me. The State Fair Classic was with Prarie View A&amp and Grambling State University. Chicago Football Classic was Howard and Morgan State, formerly the Windy City Classic. That's what kind of threw me off. I didn't see it. And the great Alabama A&M's homecoming faced off against UAPB. Really good matchup there as well. Rashad, did you attend the Virginia and North Carolina Battle of the Bands?
No, sir. That was actually canceled. Well, not canceled, excuse me. It was postponed until October the 11th due to poor weather in Virginia.
Okay. That has a lot to do then with the next battle I was going to throw out there. The Battle of the Bay was this weekend, and we don't want to give too much away on the show, but their halftime show was performed in the stands. So
that's right.
I am guessing that it's for the same, the same weather type of conditions then?
Yes, as I understand it, that was the case, that it was performed in the stands for that reason, which is weird to me because, of course, being a Hampton alum myself, I remember, back in '97, back in the 90s, we did have some hurricanes that come through there. And I remember it being pretty wet, pretty rainy out there, being on the field, 1997 against Norfolk State. So don't know what the difference was this time. Maybe different athletic director, maybe more rain, but they definitely kept it in the stands this time.
Definitely. Well, we are definitely excited to have you then, and our other panelists as well. Let's see, we bring her on here. Miss Ashlee Nicole, what's going on tonight, Ashlee?
What up, though?
What's going on? Same old. How are you tonight?
I'm good. You know me. I'll be in and out. So if y'all don't hear me, it's because I'm doing the parent thing.
I understand. Well, we appreciate you loaning us your time for these scholarships and for our kids. You know what I'm saying?
I love kids, baby.
Of course. Like we said, we want to give just a quick shout out, good prayers up there, throwing up for Christy. I think she said she got out of the hospital. I guess she was in there for something. But I think she knew. She told us last week she wasn't going to be on. But we thinking about you, Christy.
Christy.
For real, good. Well, so we will thank you tonight. You guys have the actual experts that are going to be here with us tonight. We'll go ahead and let the ladies go first, if that's cool. We'll let Miss Nicole go first. Then we'll let Rashad go. If Rashad has the same thing, where if it's like a two-part thing, we'll let him go. And then we'll take our commercial break. Then I'll go there on the second break. Then we'll come back in our last break. If there's any news, anything that we want to bring up from the week that went on, we'll do that in the last segment. And again, you're definitely open to you guys on the phone, 718-664-6025. Call in, tell us what you saw. Did not see Tennessee State's halftime show. I'm just throwing it out there. Periscope, nothing. YouTube, osmosis, nothing. Did not catch Tennessee State. So hopefully someone was at the game. They hit us up. We did see FAM, and there were some other bands, too. Actually, you up there in Ohio. It was Central State. Central State. That's who it was. Central State played Kentucky State. And now I feel bad because I hit up the director, Mr. Key. I was like, you guys sounded good. I hope you listen to the show. And I didn't remember the damn school. So sorry, sir. Central State. They played in the Circle City Classic this weekend, so we'll get to them. All right, so let's go ahead and throw out the sponsors, get rid of the bills, as they say, and we can talk about these bands. Thanks again for our beloved sponsors. Tonight's show is brought to you by Liquid Effects Photography, Block Band Music, Bandhead.org, HBCUbands.com, and Edge One Productions. Tonight's show is presented by Zimballistic. These are all the people who have actually filmed. Some of our great HBCU videographers have their own little clique, if you will. Pretty much these are the people, our bread and butter, the people we're watching every weekend to cover who we can. But, I said that, I'll make sure that we show them some love for all the gas that they're burning, all the tapes and all the stuff that they're doing, uploading videos. I'm understanding it really does take some effort, and then go out and have another real job behind all of that, or be in school. So really appreciate all that you do. So Zimballistic, my man Luis Suarez and them out there, Chicago marching bands, Terrell, Eric Williams, shout out to you, marching 8 to 5. Y'all know them 8 to 5 guys, Tyrone, Chris, 8 to 5 entertainment. Of course, the great Barney Smart. Barney Smart Jr. Appreciate all you do. Really was enjoying everyone's footage. Hadn't heard of Love My HIU. Hadn't heard of them before, but checked out the Hampton and the Battle of the Bay, and then H. Horn's 2002 Heat Stroker, and Tony Weatherly on Periscope. I saw some of his video, but the sound was going in and out, and I let Rashad and Ashlee or whoever say, they documented whoever. But I wanted to let those people say that I was going to give them some love tonight, but shouts out to you for all that you do. Really appreciate it. Give them a hand. Especially us, we hear all those great clips that we're able to play in between the commercials. Thanks. That is those guys that you heard too there. Okay, so let's go ahead and pay the bills. Again, we'll be back to talk about Week 4. Thanks again for listening.
Hi, this is Chris Jones, owner and founder and creator of March Aerobics. My website is cj@marchaerobics.com, and you listen to the 90 Degree Show in the Marching Podcast Network. Now get your legs up.
Having an anniversary party, birthday party, or better yet, you're about to marry that special someone? Liquid Effects Photography is the perfect choice to immortalize all your most special moments. With 10 years of dependable professional service that can deliver from the conventional to the best in cutting-edge technology and creativity. Come experience the uniqueness of Liquid Effects Photography. We serve the entire upper Midwest and will travel further upon request. Come check us out at liquideffects.com. That's LIQUIDEFFEX.com. Or call us at 773-454-5556. That's 773-454-5556.
Need to write music and drill? Get it on the field. Outfit your band. Keep your administrator happy and still have a life. Encountering drama in the process, ain't nobody got time for that. Let Block Band Music assist you with musical arrangements and drills to fit your band, and also the equipment, gear, and accessories to keep the visuals, music, and marching on point. Contact blockbandmusic@gmail.com and see how this worldwide minority-owned business can uplift your band.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to bandhead.org. Bandhead.org, a social network for bands.
From photo shoots to graduation pictures, from probates to band footage, from pageants to yard shows, there's only one team you can count on, the Edge One Productions. Visit theedge1.com and trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Chopping It Up is a podcast of one-on-one interviews with positive role models that have a connection through music and or education. Chopping It Up is all about inspiring our youth for a great future and providing a roadmap on how to get there. We also chop it up to give insight to anyone looking for information or hope in their endeavors. Chop it up with us on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern at blogtalkradio.com/marchingpodcast. Chopping It Up, changing the world through positive interaction.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. David A. Paget, the Director of the Geographic Information Sciences Lab at Tennessee State University, and you're listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
we're back, and you're listening to UAPB. Bring us back. I like that little part. Bringing us back from the break. Here again, we were week 4. Really appreciate you listening with us tonight. And I'll bring Rashad and Ashlee back in. Thanks again for listening. Again, like we say, we will let the ladies go first. And Ashlee, whatever you was doing here on week 4, you could let us know about it. So I'll give you the floor, if you will.
Okay, well, being in fact I don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to make it do what it do, baby.
That's understandable.
Let's see. Week 4. Where should I begin? Okay, well, let's talk about the Snorlax Classic, a.k.a. Tennessee State and FAMU. Oh, boy. First of all, shout out to everybody on Periscope who actually I think is Earl from FAM. I think he was one of the main ones streaming the Friday night. I was at a football game, high school football game up here in Columbus, so I really didn't catch it until one of my close friends who was Sonic Boom had hit me up and said, you know, FAM just played the 2000 drill medley. So when I log on, no, that was the night before, but FAM did something, and he told me to log on and watch it. I'm like, okay, so by the time I got on, I just see all of these comments about, I don't know, it somehow got personal. So the Periscope Goon, shout out to y'all. I'm pretty sure it was a nice but boring battle of the bands, but gym battle, but is what it is. Saturday, I really didn't watch too much. Took my baby out to the movie, and again, my friend who was trying to go hit me up and said, FAM just played the 2000 drill medley. So, like, they held on to something for 15 years and used it in the 5th quarter. So, it was just funny. We started a couple hashtags. #FAMU belongs. Somebody said in the Smithsonian for everything that they played in the stand. I said they belong in the ground. It was just something that just came off the top of my mind. I'm just being silly. No, I don't think FAMU belongs in the ground, but people have their own personal reservation, and they are allowed to have that. But I just said what came off my mind. I said, actually, FAMU belong in the old folks' home, because every rap tune that they get, they make it sound so happy, and it just sounds like it belongs in the old folks' home. That's just me. So pretty much, I think Periscope just got tired of their mess, for lack of a better term. You couldn't watch the rest of the 5th because, like, Periscope got tired of FAMU and their marches. So the connection was just horrible. And at that time, everybody just walked off like, yeah, it's bedtime for me. TSU, I didn't really get to catch too much of what they did, but TSU, I see they brought back the flags, and They were good. Okay, go ahead, flag girl. I think flags are effective if you know what you're doing with them. They just help put the eye on the eye-catching part of the field. So, like I tell flag girls up here at the band that I work with, if one of y'all go a half millisecond off, somebody's going to see it. So it's important that you guys are all intact. I didn't see too much of what they did, but I see that they was on the sideline and they were doing their thing in the 5th. So that was cool. I think we pretty much established that Florida bands do not know how to operate in a 5th quarter because they always want to. It's cool, have playing up 2 or 3 marches here or there, but you thrown out march after march after march after march. Gospel tune, something else,
right?
Another staple. To me, and this is my opinion, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree, your 5th quarter book should have some recent tunes. There is a lot of stuff that is out there that can be written. That does not mean you have to go get, 50 Fetty Wap or some.
It's cool to have it, but that's not what your supporter book should be made of. But then again, your whole supporter book shouldn't be made of nothing but marching and a whole bunch of gospel and a field show from 2000. So that's just it.
Yo, Ashlee, say that last part again. You kind of went out.
Let's see, moving on. What else happened yesterday?
Yo, Ashlee, can you hear me?
I really didn't get a chance. I thought I was going to Periscope that. Nobody Periscoped it, so I don't know what happened. I did see a 15-second little Instagram clip of Central State, and to me it gave them a shout-out for playing her song, Lipstick. So, I mean, those 15 seconds I heard, but it was all right. Yeah. So I really don't know too much at that point about what happened.
Yo, Ashlee, can you hear me?
I'm fine.
Okay,
yeah,
you went out. You went out like there for a sec.
Oh, I plugged up my headset. My bad.
Okay.
Because the battery went low, but now I'm on my phone.
So you said that you got to check out Central State? That's what I last heard.
No, I asked if somebody going to the game was going to Periscope it, because try to let some people know Periscope is the new deal. And I know that there was only one person who did have a Periscope, and she was in the band, but she wasn't, physically able to. She wasn't physically able to, record it herself because. I want to turn it down. Well, you're going to have to, or go in your room. I'm sorry, y'all. But she, played piccolo, so she couldn't record it. So, what I did.
You're about a girl in the band. Wow.
Yeah, she has a Periscope, but, she couldn't record herself because, she had to play.
Right, okay.
So,
I didn't know that people had their phones, on them. That's like a whole nother dimension to me, too, because people really didn't have cell phones when Rashad and I was in college. I mean, you were super balling if you had but people got their cell phones in their uniforms now, I guess? Or they got it with them,
I mean, I will tell you this. Let's see, 2005, I had a phone, but I left my phone in my uniform pocket. And that was because, you could put your phone in your case or you could put your phone in your bag on the bus, but if you know that there's people in your band who got sticky fingers, you just ran a risk. So you were better off
everybody
in your
now
pocket.
got phones, right.
Right, but you know what, these little new Pop-Tart microwaves, these little strawberry microwave Pop-Tart generation, they want to take pictures and all of that in the stands. No, that's not what you're there for, but I'm sleep though. Yeah, I actually know someone from Texas Southern who recorded himself. He was recording on Periscope while he was playing. I'm like,
I saw that.
Yeah, my homeboy Travis. Shout out to Travis. Travis needed he needed to get in the cut for that one again. But
yeah, there you go.
But it's all good though.
Well, that's what's up. Oh yeah,
so
go ahead.
I asked. No, it's good. So no one Periscoped it, but for to me, it gave Central State a shout out to them playing her song Lipstick. I think that was the ballad. So all I heard was 15 seconds. I have not seen any YouTube clips of their show. I haven't seen anything. So yeah, that's pretty much I know about the Square City Classic. It's the Circle City. I'm calling it Square because it's been Square for years now. Circle City really ain't been good since. The eggs, cool. It hasn't been effective since 2002 when it was Southern and A&M, and I was there for that. But yeah, it's been pretty lame, and I think the next 5 years, Central State and Kentucky State have the contract. And I understand that it's the Midwest and everything, but you know that's what brings money into those schools. But it's just like an obsolete classic. That's just my opinion. Unless you're gonna bring, some schools that's really gonna do some things. But hey, it is what it is. Let's move on over about 3.5 hours northwest. Let's go to Chicago. Howard and Morgan. Well, first off, shout out to the homie Jerome Queen. I think they played some of his music. Morgan sounds good. Sometimes their trumpets and their mellophones still sound questionable as all get out. Howard, they be theming. That's the best way to put it. They be theming. They are them, so they be theming. It's pretty much all I have for that. Shout out to the homie Pat. Pat got in for the free 99, and so he provided us with Periscope. But he's a Periscope G now for the last 4 weeks, and he did not have a backup battery pack. So there went his battery. Now let's go all the way to Texas. State Farm Classic. PV gave Graham the business, and Grambling is one of them. Well, girl, Grambling is one of those bands you just really hope that they would really, really be doing something. Like, okay, it wasn't a band camp clip. It was like right before school started. They had played a ballad. They sounded really good, and then, it's just Graham. We don't know what is plaguing them. I don't know if it's their arrangements. I don't know if they're trying to keep everything how it was from the 70s all the way up till now. But you got to write for the strongest part of your band. So if your low brass is strong, feature them more. Because you can't feature the trumpet like you used to back in the 90s. You just can't. But Graham be theming. Maybe they'll get it together. I don't know. But PB gave them the business through and through, forever and ever. Amen.
That's what's up.
I think pretty much that's about all. That's all I have.
It's funny you said that Grambling was like featuring it like in the 90s. I guess you probably meant the early 90s because I was there in the late 90s. And I didn't hear. I was I thought that was when Sam got to do the Coke commercial, I think that might have been the late 80s. When they got to do the Coke commercial and anti and all of that, that Graham is not. I mean, I applaud them for keeping tradition over the years. So in 8 and dancing while playing, and be looking like, man, if these Negroes don't stand still. While these dance girls is on this field. Please. I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that way. Okay. I definitely want to go ask Rashad about it.
It's some bands that just need to let, the younger people need to, I won't say the younger people, but so the younger alumni with those credentials just need to take over. But, some band directors, and I'm not talking about Graham, I'm just talking about in general. A lot of these band directors is never, ever going to give it up, and they're going to do what they're going to do until God calls them home, and that's kind of stingy. So they can be out there deaf, blind, in a wheelchair, and can't really function, but they're going to keep that job. And I understand for some of the older ones, that's what they have to keep them going, but you just got to know when you have to give it up. And it's a lot of them who just ain't got that oomph no more. Give it up. You have all these people in line. You can interview. You can pick somebody out of them. You groom these young men, in some cases women. You groom these men and women to be able to be in a position to run a program. You have to let go and not be afraid. That's just me. My priest today was talking about the 3 P's: purgatory, purging, and this is what I get for not paying attention in math. Pruning, purging, and pruning. Because from purgatory comes the word purge. You have to purge, and then after you purge, you have to prune. So you've pruned these people. Now it's time for you to purge yourself because these people are pruned to take over. But, it ain't going to happen with our schools. It's not. They'll go and pick somebody else who don't know nothing about your band before they put somebody in the position that knows the in and outs about your band. So your cycle will start all over.
That's going on in a lot of places. I'll just leave that one out there. That's going on in a lot of places. But yeah,
two more things, and I'm out. Shout out to Prof. Kyle Smith at Lane. Lane is doing their thing. Keep going, brother, because you're really giving your school, your administration a reason to invest in that band. And mind you may not have much, but you got a mighty group of young men and women who gonna be there, and you gonna build off of that. And shout out to Delaware State, because they sound good. You got to listen to that clip they were playing. It's real, from Alcorn, because Mr. J was from Alcorn. They sound good. I just need to see some clips of them, but they sound good, yeah. Go Del State. Go Lane. Go best friend. That's my best friend. I'm sorry. Sorry for my ratchet moment.
That's cool. I didn't know. It's funny you say that because I've always wanted to get Delaware State on the show more, but they're just not that popular. Even today with all the web stuff, and I guess there's a couple clips, but they look good from what I saw a couple of years ago. But we definitely hope to get some more clips of them. And if you're out there listening, we definitely try to get some more Del State clips somewhere, so we can actually talk about them more on the show. So that's what's up, Ashlee. We really appreciate that. Your Week 4 breakdown for us. Definitely always like the angle that you come from, because you definitely know a lot of folks in the game. So Rashad, the owner and founder of Block Band, well, hold on. Let me just double check here. We do have a caller here in the queue. I just want to make sure they want to listen in the queue. Caller from the 410. What's your name and where you calling from tonight?
Do I really have to tell you my name?
Oh, what's going on? The resident expert, great Kevin O. Davenport, representing Tennessee State, of course. What's going on tonight?
Oh, man, I'm just listening in. I did have a chance to go out and see a couple of bands. I wanted to call in and talk about a few things with you guys.
Okay, all right. Well, go ahead. I'll give you the floor. I'll give you the floor, and then Rashad, you could go after the break if that's all right, after the commercial break.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, all right. Go ahead. You have the floor, sir.
I'm climbing up on my soapbox here for a minute.
Okay.
And I just have to say, what happened to stand decorum?
Uh-oh.
And I'm sure you two guys, when you went to band, you wanted the band directors that said you are always performing. From the time you put that uniform on to the time you take it off. So that includes being in the stands. And in the stands, you are in a band, and it's not about you individually. So one of my peeves is I had a chance to observe a band, and individuals were just standing up and shouting and doing all kinds of stuff on their own that had nothing to do with the band. And it just takes away from the overall band's look. When you got individuals standing up shouting and yelling to their friends sitting off to the side and across the band and everything, but paying attention to what's going on for the whole band. That just irritated the daylights out of me. Wow. I have to say shout out to Torrey Smart. I had a chance to go over to the Battle of the Bay, and to be able to just sit back and observe, because neither band went on the field at halftime. Still trying to figure that one out, because at halftime it wasn't raining.
That's what Rashad said.
I have to believe that was a athletic director's decision.
Mm-hmm.
That old crazy argument, we don't want the band going to field at halftime because they're tired to fill up, when you got 300-pound linemen and cleats out there the rest of the time. The band going to turn to fill up. So that's just nuts to me. So
I would see that in the paper. I would see that in the paper, Dr. Davenport. I remember years ago, just right fast, I remember we came from the Windy City Classic, and reading the paper the next day, like in like a Denny's or whatever, wherever we were, And we definitely read that they were worried about Soldier Field and preparing the extra time for the game that morning because the Jackson State, I think it was we played Alabama State, the Windy City Classic was there. Yeah, we read that in the paper the next morning. That's crazy.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Once again, I have to talk about, if you don't know, let me go ahead and put it out there. I did get my master's degree from Hampton. Okay, I have to put that out there out front. Barney Smart was the reason I managed to get a master's degree, so I have to give him shout out. And to the band, and I have to say this and encourage HU. Those students that are currently in that band are showing a lot of courage in staying in there. They don't have a lot of numbers, and that's always going to be a challenge at HU because of the amount of tuition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they held their own. They kept their heads up, and Norfolk State tried to humiliate them in the stands, but that didn't happen. They maintained their class, and I'm just proud to see that. And I think Tori's going to do a wonderful job there at HU. It seems like the bands there on the East Coast are falling back to what band normal was from standpoint of, you had tuba sections of 10 and 12 instead of 24 and 30.
Mm-hmm.
The tuba sections were balanced to the size of the group, particularly Norfolk State. They had the right number of tubas for the size of the instrumentation they had. That was 12 tubas. And they sound pretty good. So I had a chance to hear them. I wanted to see them on the field, but that chance got taken away from me. But it was good to be home and be out there and get a chance to see them. Only thing I heard from Tennessee State, and I invite you to go listen to it on YouTube, was Tennessee State playing the new Star Trek theme. And if you have not heard it, they played it Friday night against FAM in that pep rally battle of the bands. Incredible. I don't know where you got that arrangement from. Incredible arrangement. And they played the daylights out of it. They weren't trying to blow the walls of the gym down. They played it very musically. And, yeah, I'm partial to Tennessee State. And I want to say this. People talk about fifth quarters and what band should play and what should not. What you play is dependent on what band is sitting across from you. And you've got to be able to adjust to who you're playing against. And when it comes to Tennessee State and Florida A&M, yes, you're going to get a dose of marches. It's always been that way.
Jack State, too. Jack State. We might be fading. Well, don't forget Jack State. Don't forget Jack State.
Yeah, I might play one or two on occasion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, two.
But, I remember the days of directing Tennessee State and had the pleasure of having Tennessee State and FAMU sit side by side. And Dr. White was on the ladder for Florida A&M, and I had the privilege of directing Tennessee State. And we played 7 marches, each of us. But that was to show musicality, technique, skill. It wasn't about trying to blow each other off the field. It was about showing your musical abilities, your technical abilities. And I know so many bands have thrown that out the window. But that's how you show musicianship. How technical are you on your instrument as a band as a whole? And you show versatility. You're not going to see Tennessee State in the fifth do the exact same music against FAM as they would against Jackson State. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
Fifth quarter should be a volley. One band saying, "Here, we can play this," and the other band responding, and they're going in a different direction. Yeah, we can do that too, but can you do this? It's
the play call,
that kind of thing.
The play calling. That's what we done labeled it here. The play calling.
Absolutely.
That's huge. You know what I mean? That's huge. Like, you definitely have the pulse of the stadium.
And you're trying to find that jab that the other band can't respond to. And that's not all about playing louder than the other group. That's about being a better group of musicians than the other group. And I think that has gotten lost in the loud. I think I got up on my soapbox not too long ago. I was flying to Nevada last week and started listening to funk tunes from the early mid-'70s, early '80s, and the groove they laid down playing those songs. And I'm listening to the bands now, they're so busy playing loud and fast, they're losing the character of the music. You know what I mean? The character's gone. You're not locking into a groove and really playing it like it's supposed to be played because you're so busy playing loud and fast. So, it's about musicianship versus volume. And I appreciate those groups that still refuse to give up on musicianship. Now, all that dancing Grambling's doing, y'all were talking about, look, the Coca-Cola commercial, I can speak from personal experience, was around 82, 83.
Oh,
okay, I know. Right, because Tennessee State did a Coke commercial around the same time. It was the same time that FAMU did the Welch's commercial. Yes, it's that old. Okay? And back then, Grambling was doing the same stuff on the field that they're doing now.
Wow. No, they're not. No,
yes,
they are not.
That same dancing, and I think they even did moves on the Star Spangled Banner. You know what?
Sorry, I thought that was funny.
Moving too much affects the character of your sound. If you never stop and just play, how will anybody really know what you sound like? So I'm tired of all that dancing, too. There is a place for dancing. The whole show is not it, especially when the dancers are dancing. That's just ridiculous.
Right.
So anyway, gentlemen, that's what I got. That's what I got for tonight. It's been a real experience seeing the beginning of the season.
No.
And I think we're really starting to get this demarcation between bands that are trying to be musical and bands that are trying to be loud. I think that's starting to show itself more and more. Some can do solid volume and still play musical. Others are just going over the top. And I think that gap is getting wider and wider because some people refuse to play that I'm going to be louder than you game. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that they're trying to teach musicianship as opposed to volume. You can project and play.
I'm sorry.
Right,
Go ahead.
You can project and play with intensity and get plenty volume and still play accurately. But a band is just outright playing, and you can tell when they're playing with no control because they start hanging over on notes. They don't cut off on time. They don't start on time. The brasses start getting out of tune because they're busy playing loud to the point where they don't have control of the instruments, trying to be loud or trying to make yourself sound loud as opposed to your section or your band loud, that balance and blend. That kind of thing is not being concentrated on enough. So, I'm not a fan of let's play as loud as we can. Never have been.
That's outstanding. You bring up some really good points, and it's definitely it's a fine line because I definitely think that Jackson State is in that spot right now. With all the huge numbers that they have, we have a little, internally everybody's jumping on the trumpet section. And, of course, we throw out there, I was going to say this on my part, Rashad, but I threw out there about the flugelhorns. I had brought that up in one of our little discussions, and they straight up took my comment down, man. They was like, man, we ain't trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, dang. They straight up took it down, yo. They was like, man, we ain't trying to hear that. Y'all are horrible. I was like, dang, but you definitely are. Wow. And even now watching it on Periscope, people are just giving it to the trumpets. Just on every week it's starting to be a thing. But, of course, those numbers are just unbelievable. And then, of course, shout out to Damian Emilian. He was even talking about it. he might not want that because of the sound. Like he say, it might change the sound, but then again, it could be something where we're adjusting to and adding something new to the game. Because I do feel like it is I ain't gonna say it's a Southern thing, but this whole like loud, the horn line, baritone line, mild Southern, it's like that's what's hot right now. You know what I mean? That's what's hot. And Alabama A&M, they're on the come up, but they have the blend well. Tennessee State has the blend well, but it's not as what's popular. Like, you know, that's not hot right now. You know what I mean? That's kind of, it is a fine line, man. I'm telling you.
But musicianship is musicianship and should never go out of style. And anybody that gives in to this, we're going to play as loud as we can. You know, we talk about have we groomed younger people to step up and become band directors. Well, if we have, then they won't be so busy trying to play loud and not play musical. Now, I can tell you a big problem that a lot of bands are going to have, and it's going to happen more and more. How many trumpets does it take to balance 24 tubas?
75. Just get 75. I would love to just see it.
Look, think 4 to 1.
Oh.
4 trumpets for every 1 tuba player.
Right.
That's really what you need to balance properly. But who has that? You know, you're seeing these huge I don't know where all these tuba players are coming from. I'm seeing some huge tuba sections, and for that matter, some huge trombone sections in some cases. But my goodness, the trumpets don't stand a chance of balancing a section that big. You know, because you're caught between one of your tubas and your trombones, and I'll tell you from personal experience, it is impossible to overblow a marching euphonium. You can put as much air through that thing as you want to. If you got a good armature, it's not going to crack. But playing that loud, what are you drowning out? Once again, it's thinking about a band's characteristic whole sound and not your section. Because trumpets will never stand a chance with a trombone section playing as loud as it can, with a tuba section playing as loud as it can. And if you got 16 to 18 baritones, what chance does the trumpet section have? You know, and then I think that's becoming an issue. How many bands are we talking about right now with the trumpets seem weak?
Yep.
But that's the reason. It's out of balance, and we got to be real conscious of that. But
you know what's so fun? But you know what's so funny is that it's kind of like hazing. It's like, you know, we know it ain't right, but damn it, we love the ignorance. You know what I'm saying? That's
yeah.
We love it. We love it bad. We want to tell our friends, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's real, man, because I ain't going to lie. I was excited when I saw the Jack State or just saw some of the numbers, but not understanding what I'm hearing. And then Christy was talking about, like, the songs where it's just, like, totally drained out. And then just going to Southern. Well, Southern's whole tradition has been this way for years. And they trumpets try to blow in the stratosphere the whole night. You know what I mean? So, man, I'm telling you, it's a great conversation. But I definitely have to give props to Alabama A&M, and why I want to put Mario Warren out there. They sound like they're progressing with the blend that you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Well, and then let's look at where Mario comes from.
From you.
I didn't think that. I shouldn't even say that.
He's from Tennessee State.
Okay.
And so what he has in his ear is that musical sound, and that's the way he writes. Now what I can say about the old Southern, and I don't know if it's still true, so much of their volume came from orchestration. They wrote higher. So the whole band was playing in a higher key than what we were used to playing. And, of course, when your whole band is playing higher, that sound will carry if they can get the notes out. But we were listening to tuba players play, and I don't know if they ever came below a middle line D. And your tubas, it's easy to get your tubas to sound when they're playing up in that range. So much of that came from orchestration as opposed to, you know, just sheer force of power. And once again, intensity of sound is okay. I love intense sound. I love a band to sound like they're on the edge. But they still have control of their articulation. They still have control of their phrasing. They're not hanging over.
That's outstanding.
Anyway,
I really appreciate. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call in and hijack your show like that.
Oh no. This for the people. You know what I'm saying? We want people to come in and let us know what's going on. But definitely, it's a great conversation. You even got a little looking in the chat room. But even Mario is in the chat room. So shout out to your brother, giving you some props. Also, Barney Smart just texted me saying you have a great conversation. So that's what this is for. So we appreciate that. But yeah, it has been on my mind. Because I'm like, man, I don't know, like, where do you go? But just like you talked about in the director series, you build it there in the concert bay. And that's a lot of what you talk about. But, man, when you fade it at football games, boy, I tell you, that Southern sound, it's great. You know what I'm saying? It's outstanding. But let's go ahead and go to the commercial break. If you want to, Dr. Davenport, you're welcome to stay on. Rashad will go, and then I'll go in the next break. And then, of course, we'll have the last section open for people to call in and say something if they need, or we'll bring up something week. Listening to Week 4 here on the 90 Degree Show. Thanks for listening.
Hi, this is Steve Termenstein, or Mr. T, as my former band students at Luther North High School in St. Louis know me. A while ago, I talked with Joe Beard, a North grad, who I taught and coached in band and track. You're listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Bluff Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to bandhead.org. Bandhead.org, a social network for bands.
From photo shoots to graduation pictures, from probates to band footage, from pageants to yard shows, there's only one team you can count on, the Edge1 Productions. Visit theedge1.com and trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Hey, this is Danielle Deshaun Kemp, owner and founder of Quake Brewing Company out of Anchorage, Alaska. And you're listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
We're back in our second segment here, if you will, listening to Prarie View A&amp University. Really surprised me. I guess I I'm sleeping on them. I know they were scary back in the early 2000s, or a lot of folks talking about them. Shouts out to Luis Suarez. I know he was marching in that band. I know he's running Zimballistic. But yeah, Prarie View, I really was impressed with them. Really enjoyed that battle. But that'll be later. 718-664-6025. Week 4, the 90 Degree Show here. We got Dr. D, and we have Rashad Watters here with us. Ashlee may be back here and there, of course. We really appreciate the time she does give us. I know I remember talking to her, and I was like, I just want to have her on the show. She's like, I don't know, I got all the stuff going on, but we really appreciate the time that she does give for the scholarships. All right? So, Rashad, I will give you the floor, sir, to tell us about your Week 4.
All right, man, let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the play-by-play of things that I saw this weekend. First thing I just get it out the way was Hampton versus Norfolk State this past weekend. Very, very exciting. The only thing that I saw was the 2 halftime shows. And so let me start with Hampton. First thing I want to say about Hampton is I can really see the growth in the band there from the musical standpoint. They seem to be doing well under Tory Smart there. Of course, they're really small right now, and I mean that's just an issue right now. I noticed once again, bringing up Periscope, a lot of people were kind of down in the band, but as I listened to them, I really didn't hear anything that sounded bad. I heard a lot of things that this is a very small band, so to some extent they're only so good that they might sound as far as what you're expecting. But I did find that they pretty much know their music. There seems to be an issue, however, this is a carryover from the previous year in the mellophone section. There are some times where the mellophones are kind of out there, sticking out, doing some things, and they just kind of need to watch that. I'm used to much more characteristic sound of the mellophone. Just play your part, and not try to, come out there and save the world. On the mellophone, you're not going to do it. You're just going to miss. But other than that, I actually really enjoyed the sound of Hampton's band. But compared to Norfolk, I'm in pain because I can't believe that I'm about to say something like this. But Norfolk State's band really, really, really sounds good. And once again on Periscope, there was tremendous applause for the sound of their band, even though they're smaller than they were at their greatest points. They really sound good, and I really have to give props to the arranging that's going on. That always has been one of Norfolk State's greatest feathers in their cap, is the quality of the arranging that they have. And they're still there. So even though they may be smaller band than some others, they can outplay you. They can play you out of the stands. And so that was one thing that I noticed when it became between Hampton and Norfolk, is that even though Hampton's arrangements were pretty good, Norfolk's arrangements were great. And I got to give them credit for that. There's a lot of dynamic contrast, a lot of control, tremendous amount of control in the playing of the band. I really wish I could have seen them in the stands, but I will go ahead and put it out there right now. Based off of what I have seen from Norfolk in the stands, I would love to see them on the field first before I make a final decision, but they would be one of my bands from the MEAC that I would like to see go to the Honda. Just if you can play like that, I want to see you at the Honda. Now, I need to see them be able to put it on the field as well, because if you can't drill, you can't do an exciting show and put it all together, then I'm going to take that back. But Norfolk State, you guys are getting your second compliment from me of all time. First compliment was Shaft from 2000. That was awesome as well. So good job, guys. I think 2 compliments from me in the course of 30 years is, not bad.
That's all good, right, man. That's good.
So I will get the victory to Norfolk there. Popping over to A&M and UAPB. So this is one where I really saw everything, and I'm very, very excited about this matchup. I don't know if this is one that happens all the time, because I don't know that UAPB sees all the other bands like that. But this battle between these 4-letter words here was really exciting. UAPB and AAMU, because they both have a sound that is different than the rest of the SWAC. They don't sound like Jackson. They don't sound like Southern. They don't sound like Texas Southern. They don't sound like those bands. They don't have that traditional SWAC sound. They have something that's a little bit different there. And so it was also to see the matchup between those two to really see what that was going to look like. Okay? So first of all, let's start with Alabama A&M. Let's start with UAPB on the field. So the drum major entrance was just cool, but was a little shaky on the end. You know, it's kind of like, the main drum major kind of put his head back. He just kind of tapped the ground real quick, stood up real quick before he fell. That's what it kind of looked like to me. There wasn't a lot of confidence on that. Like, bam, I can touch this ground all day long, you know. The sound was decent, but there was some sticking out from time to time there. And you can tell that even though that UAPB doesn't quite sound like the other bands, there is still some of that edge in their sound when they play. You can still hear people sticking out, particularly in the trumpet section. You hear a lot of that. Now, granted, some of that was due to the fact that they were drilling a lot. They were going in a lot of different directions, and so you can really hear some of that sticking out. It becomes a lot more noticeable to you when you're doing that. I mean, but I have to give them credit for doing the drills. I also want to say I really like how when they went from their dance girl song, as soon as the dance girl song started, as soon as it ended, they started dancing right then. And then they did about maybe 5 or 6 seconds worth of dance, and then they go into the actual dance block. I think that's cool because anything that you can do to keep your energy flowing, I think it's great. You know, instead of just dance girl song is over, okay, tap, 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 okay, Katie. You know, I think what they did was really good. When they got to the end, they made the M4 formation, but you guys know what that stands for because they have 4 M's in their names. I'm not going to even try to mess it up. But they weren't really together right there. If you listen to that, you can hear some of the phasing problems that's happening right there. So I thought overall UAPB did a decent job. It definitely wasn't the best that I've seen this year. It was much better than the performance I saw against Morehouse the previous time because I thought UAPB's performance against Morehouse was good until they got to the end where it seemed like they made a town or a cloud from Super Mario's on what it was they did, and the dancing team was all bad. But this was good. The show was pretty decent, much better there. All right, now let's go ahead and go to AAMU. AAMU has a fantastic sound, and this is something that I would just say I really can't say enough of. Alabama A&M has a great sound, and this is something that was continuous for every single thing that I heard, whether it be their drill, whether it be a lot of musicianship, everything from their drill to their stand performance, everything was really, really great there. Now, where I think that they lack, I think that Alabama A&M lacks in their drills right now, and I said that at the Queen City Battle of the bands a couple of weeks back, and I say even more now. When you watch the drill, yes, they're doing a good job of keeping people facing the front, but you kind of like, well, what's that? It's just kind of something that happens. Like some bands take advantage of making a lot of straight lines and taking straight lines and going across the field. And sometimes when you're making straight lines, you're taking a lot of your sound and moving it, towards the side. And that's not always great. Sometimes it's a much better idea to keep your sound facing front. But you got to do something that is catching to the eye, and it just seemed like they just moved kind of like from one company front formation to another. Somebody, I don't know if y'all noticed it, but somebody's like moving papers or something around. So that's audible on the recording. Just letting y'all know.
Yeah. I'm about to say I think I hear that too. Okay.
Goddamn, boy, you grading papers over there?
No, believe me, that's the last thing I'm doing.
Give him an F.
I'll take the hit. I'll take the hit for that sound, though.
I definitely want to give credit to the baby dancers that came out there and danced with Dance Girls. I thought they did a good job. I thought they fit in well. I don't normally watch dancers that much, but I thought for them to be little girls, I thought they did a good job of keeping up with the adults. So great job there. A couple of things really to me, from the overall show standpoint, if you're looking at the announcing from Alabama A&M, I wasn't really feeling the announcing. Like first error, you don't have to name everybody in the band before the show starts. Like the band started playing, and he's still, we got Dr. Kevin Davenport, he's playing the mellophone, and Joe Beard, he's playing the trumpet, and Rashad Watters, the two were playing, and so on and so forth. Like, dude, just name the band director, assist the band director, and let's go. All that other stuff, you can do it at the end of the show. So that it takes away from the impact of the thing. The other thing from the announcer standpoint, I would say is either be yes, we are the band that will destroy your mama. I mean, either be that guy, the cool guy that doesn't really get excited, or be the guy that gets excited. But don't kind of be both. And that's one thing I noticed with him. It's like at the beginning of the show, he's yes, Alabama A&M, and here we are, we're doing this, and here comes the formation. But then at the end, the same guy's kind of like, and here we go, we're getting excited right now. It's like, don't do that. During the dance routine, just still be like the FAMU guys, kind of like, there's only one, or Bethune-Cookman, you lost. And then the band breaks into a cool maneuver. But don't try to mix the two together. I don't think it just works very well. Comparing the two shows, it's kind of hard to say. I would say that Alabama A&M might probably get the win because their sound was so great. But from a drilling standpoint, they really didn't do anything as compared to UAPB, who I thought, they made the UAPB on the field, they made the M4 on the field. I think they made something else. I thought they did a lot. I thought their drill maneuvers were a lot more complex than Alabama A&M. So it's kind of hard to give the definite win to a band that doesn't drill as much. But I would probably say A&M edged them just a little bit. But from the standpoint of neither one of the shows was just like, this is awesome. And, Joe, this is kind of where gimmicks kind of come in sometimes. The reason for gimmicks is the fact that, yes, you got a great band, but sometimes having a great band might not be enough, And when I say gimmicks, this is the reason for gimmicks. It doesn't mean I agree with gimmicks. It's not enough for your band just to get out there and sound good and drill well. That's not enough for the audience. That should be the basics, that you should do that. Not everybody can do that. But it's also about, now let me put everything together in the right order so that it draws the right emotional response from the audience. Let me put this in my dance, then this in my dance, and then this. Or let me do this in the drill, and then this in the drill. Let me mix all these together. Let me have the announcer say this here. It's all about putting those things together so that the audience cannot stand themselves, but to stand up and say, wow, that was awesome. And you didn't really get that from either one of those shows. So I would encourage both bands to kind of go back and look at their best shows and things that have really, and even other bands, and look at things that have caused people to really get excited, and to put those things in their show as well. But from the standpoint of sounding good and drilling, A&M, great job. UAPB, you're doing a pretty good job as well. All right, let's get to that fifth quarter. UAPB started with Shane by Tyrese. Good arrangement, little off at some points, but good arrangement. A&M played Attitudes. I had to get Mario to help me with that. That's by the Barcade. Great song. Love the echo at the end of that. UAPB next. Let's see here. I wrote down had problems with higher notes in the middle, but I didn't write down what the name of the song was, unfortunately. Alabama A&M, Panty Dropper. Love the distinction in the sound, and I'll come back and talk about that. But watch the intonation, Mellophone. UAPB played Rhythm in the Sky. Trumpets was shaky. If you listen to that at the beginning, they're kind of like there. They were real shaky on that section to get it. The Mellophone's out of tune on that. UAPB played, Alabama A&M played Glory. It wasn't the strongest performance, but it was a good song. They did a good job with that song. That song, the key of that song and kind of what happens in that song doesn't necessarily lend itself to being like a great song, personally. But I think they did a good job with it. A nice, very nice run in the mellows and trumpets. great sound from the mellophones. UAPB played The Weeknd. So I played The Hills by The Weeknd. Very simple arrangement, definitely not up to the other arrangements that were played by the band. It sounded as if the arrangement was done by somebody else. And I will say, UAPB, if you play Southern this year, please do not play that against Southern. It will not be pretty. And then the last thing that I had the chance to listen to was Alabama A&M playing "I'd Do Anything for You," which was their weakest song that they played at the time that I listened. Not bad, but you could definitely tell that there were some issues, just a few small issues. Now here's the difference. That song, "I'd Do Anything for You," sounded like everything else that UAPB played. So the song that their weakest song that Alabama A&M played sounded like what UAPB was playing. And what I mean is that the two bands play similar, and their arranging styles are similar, but Alabama A&M is just so much more of a polished band when it comes to musicianship. You just don't hear the sticking out. You just don't hear it. You hear the musicianship. You can hear the articulation. You don't hear the intonation problems. I mean, Alabama A&M, they're fantastic, and so I would have to put them listening to the show here as the second band that I would mention. And I would love to see them on the Honda from the music standpoint. Now, I wouldn't want to see them necessarily from the standpoint of their show. I don't think that their show would be one that says, man, they just turned the Honda out. And so that's something I think they need to really spend some more time on for show design. But as far as musicality, bam, one of the best. Before I move on, I'll say this. When I teach my arrangers on the block band staff, I teach them that there are basically three different styles of arranging style right now. There is the Southwest style, Southeast style, and the North style. Southwest is your bands like, your Jacksons and your Southerns, and, you're playing mainly for power. With your Southeast styles, your Bethune-Cookmans, your FAMUs, what South Carolina State is doing, you're doing for a lot of depth and sonority in your sound, and not necessarily going for power, but getting how many people can I get to play this part? And your North style bands, and by North I mean north of the region of show style band. This is your Norfolk State, your Hampton, your A&T now is this way, and also your Tennessee State. In this one, you're really going for a lot of complexity in your sound. You're really trying to outplay people. The music is not as low as what you would see in the Southeast, but not quite as high as what you would see in the Southwest. And it's interesting because, for a couple of years now, the North bands have kind of been struggling, but it's nice to see Norfolk State coming back up again and Alabama A&M really kind of leading the charge, I would say, as far as the sound of the North style band. I might even have to change the name of that style because they sound so good and they're in the South. We might have to call it something else. All right. So let's move on. Does anybody else want to say something real quick? I don't like just running my mouth all the time. I won't talk about FAMU and Tennessee State, but y'all can go ahead.
I do want to give shout out to Carlton Reich, who's the director of bands down at A&M. Because from the moment he got there, you can tell he was paying attention to detail as far as cleanliness of sound. Their sound is so clean, and I've been impressed with that since he got there. But we also, Carlton has an interesting perspective in that he is originally from Alabama, but he did his grad work at Hampton. Mm-hmm. So, he has the advantage of having experienced those different sounds from the different regions of the country. And I think it pays off. But his attention to detail and just the way the band sounds, you can tell he concentrates on not having people stick out, on having people articulate properly. You can just hear it in the sound. That's musicianship, and I hope more bands follow that suit. Playing musically like that.
Yeah, Rashad, I had I muted our microphones while you were talking just because it makes makes your voice a little bit more clear on the recording. So then I'll go back in and out with the mute. So yeah, you ain't by yourself, man. You just, if it sounds quiet like that, it's just for the benefit of recording.
Gotcha. All right. Well, me just as far as me just running my mouth all the time, because now I'll talk the whole show.
Hey, it's all good, man. Hey, it's all good, man. It's all right. I really like that, because I'm in geography, but I really like the regional assessments you have as far as arranging styles. We definitely should document that and put that out there. But that's actually really cool.
Well, thank you. And you kind of find that, that bands tend to play a certain way based off of where they are. Even as we were putting out music for our various customers, bands that are from Virginia are not going to play or want to play necessarily arrangement from somebody that, well, that's not necessarily true. What's going to happen is if you give a band from Virginia an arrangement that was written by somebody from FAM, it's not going to sound the way that the FAMU person maybe thought that they wanted it to sound.
Right.
Because they all have very different perspectives and different things that they think about, different articulations and balance, and all these things are very, very different.
That's outstanding. So anything else happened for you in week 4, man?
All right, so now let's pop over to FAMU versus Tennessee State. So I don't know what happened. Tennessee State turned into the Phantom show. I don't know what the heck happened with their show and why nobody was there. I would have thought that would have been probably, one of the major matchups this year because, of course, FAMU and Tennessee State have a huge rivalry. And then Tennessee and FAMU is really growing themselves back up again. I think it was really interesting to I believe that Tennessee State is bigger than FAM now, if I'm not mistaken. But if they are, they're not much bigger than FAM. But it would have been interesting to go to the Battle of the Bands and, see a complete flip-flop of what has always been the case, where, FAMU has always dwarfed Tennessee State in size, in terms of size. But always, as far as my life is concerned. That boy probably said, no, that was that time in the 80s.
Well, no, in the 80s, FAM's band was still bigger than Tennessee State.
Okay.
Even when we got to, I think, while I was in school, we got up to about 220. But FAM was still running. FAM was still running 350 at the time. I think it's been the last few years that Tennessee State has been the bigger band of the two.
Okay.
I understand. Tennessee State's a little bit smaller than they were last year. They didn't get a giant freshman class in, but I you gotta go to a FAMU Tennessee State Battle of the Bands with a different mindset. You just do. You're not going to enjoy it if you're not a musician.
Right.
You're not going to enjoy it.
That's very, very true. Well, I didn't enjoy it because they had a halftime show with the cheerleaders. I didn't enjoy that at all.
I haven't seen the halftime show. So.
Like in the middle of the Battle of the Bands, the cheerleaders come out and do some cheers, and all the band heads on Periscope, I mean, they were going absolutely berserk. Like, what is this? What is going on? Yes. And not to mention that both bands played like their alma mater and things like that at the end of the first half, so it seemed like it was ending.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I didn't really see enough of that to be able to say much about it. I mean, from what I was listening to, it didn't really sound. It sounded like both bands were really, really, really holding back. But I think that was mainly just because of the sound of the microphones of the phones. That they couldn't take in all the sound. So I really won't even comment on that. I'm just going to pop over to the FAMU halftime show here. I think FAMU sounds great. The band director, the announcer started out by saying, that this is one of the most exciting bands, in the world or whatever he says. And, just to see FAMU start running on the field and the drum majors are, doing backflips and splits and all kinds. I mean, not doing backflips, but they're doing splits and things. Man, that is pretty doggone exciting. I gotta give them credit for that. The rattle was cool. I think the Can We Talk, great arrangement with that. I took a little issue with the arrangements as far as it started out with the woodwinds, which I don't think the baritones and the other phones were playing. I think it was just the woodwinds, and that was cool. And then the trombones came in, with just like a rolling, I was too shy. They come in with that part. And said, okay. But then it's supposed to build from there, and it just like the next section is not any louder than that. I think the trumpets come in, but they're like muddled in with everybody else, and it's a really good mezzo forte. And then you don't really get anything until you pop over into the actual chorus. So, and from the standpoint of the song building and building and building towards that chorus, it just kind of didn't happen there. But it sounded good. I thought the trumpets were a little thin when they have when Tevin Campbell sings his little solo type of stuff at the end. I thought they were kind of thin, and probably could use some help for some saxophones or something like that. Now, Joe, I know they caught an L on their show by themselves, regardless of what Tennessee State did, because they sang. And I know that's your judgment on that.
I'm glad that you know it's in my notes. I'm glad. I was so upset. I like that song. I like concert formation, but then you break to sing. What are you doing? I don't understand the choir competition. You know what I'm saying? I don't get that part. I do see that some of the people got excited, so like they stood up and they started to sing, so it got them some momentum. But you know what? Why don't your announcer say, why don't you sing with us? Because all these announcers have so much to say at any other time. Why don't they instruct the crowd when to sing? I mean, but a band sing? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I didn't see Tennessee State, but L, yes. I don't even know if it's L.
So, Joseph, I guess you enjoyed, like 1997 when the whole crowd sung the Lenny piece, right?
If the crowd can sing, if the crowd can sing, that's nice. But I don't want to hear fam. I don't want nobody in spat singing. If you got a uniform on at the don't sing. Like, you know what I'm saying? And don't put anybody in front of your band singing either, because that's just horrible. It's ruining the craft, man. That's my soapbox.
Now, let me just point out real quick that I see on the fifth quarter the FAMU halftime show has now been posted, so I'm sure we'll take a quick 15-minute break and come back. No, I'm just messing. Finally, the show was posted so we can see what they did. And I liked singing. I thought just like you said, it really did get the people excited. Let me just point out real quick that going back to the Battle of the Bands. I can't remember if Tennessee State sang in their fifth quarter or not, but I do remember that FAMU sang during Total Praise. And let me just point out that they do not sing very well at all. Let me just point that out. If you're going to sing, I think you should sound good singing, and smooth out some of those rough voices. So let me just say that real quick, because if you can sound good singing, then I think it carries over well to good playing. But anyway, moving on. Overall, I thought the show was a great show. I think maybe they should have changed some of the order of their dance routine, because you can tell people are excited for some things, like why we always lie, and they do that to get excited about that, but then they'll do the next thing and they weren't more excited. So maybe some of the order of the dance routine probably could have been switched overall. But I thought that FAMU did a great show, and I would love to see the FAMU at the Honda overall. The drill, I don't know if you saw it, at the end of the drill, they made the rattlesnake, which was really cool. Yeah, so unlike last time, they did a much better drill. They made FAMU, they made the rattlesnake, and they made something else. And even their overall drilling is much better than it has been in the past. So I guess when we come back, if we've got a moment, I'll go ahead and talk about the fifth quarter.
We'll talk about the fifth quarter in the last segment. The last segment, we want to throw it open, and then I'll say what I went on through the week. If anyone else wants to call in, happy to do so. If we get out some news or anything else that happened through the week, we can talk about that in the next segment. 718-664-6025. It's the 90 Degree Show, week 4. Call us in. Keep it locked. Thanks for listening. All the other stuff. Love, peace, and hair grease.
Hi, this is Chris Jones, owner and founder and creator of March Aerobics. My website is cj@marchaerobics.com, and you listen to the 90 Degree Show in the Marching Podcast Network. Now get your legs up.
Having an anniversary party, birthday party, or better yet, you're about to marry that special someone? Liquid Effects Photography is the perfect choice to immortalize all your most special moments. With 10 years of dependable professional service that can deliver from the conventional to the best in cutting-edge technology and creativity. Come experience the uniqueness of Liquid Effects Photography. We serve the entire upper Midwest and will travel further upon request. Come check us out at liquideffects.com. That's LIQUIDEFFEX.com. Or call us at 773-454-5556. That's 773-454-5556.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Bluff Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
Listening to the Barking Podcast. Hi, this is Nessa. You need to do what you podcast.
Alabama A&M bringing us back from the commercial break from one of the songs they played this weekend. 718-664-6025. You're welcome to call in here before we close it out for the night. Rashad will go ahead and finish. I think he said he's got the fifth quarter. And we'll I'll quickly go through what I saw. But again, if you're here, go ahead and call in. Any news or anything that went on during the week, go ahead and let us know. Rashad, go ahead, man. I'll give you the floor here.
All right, so we started out with FAMU, starting out with Lifetime. And, man, those chords, they sounded awesome, man. Really, really great. And then they moved into the song, and I thought it was pretty cool. Tennessee State moves from there to If This World Were Mine. Not necessarily you could hear a few errors in here. I thought it was a good arrangement. There was just a few mistakes here and there. Then FAMU plays a march, which tends to be characteristic of what happens there. Tennessee State comes back and plays Gin and Juice. It's interesting that Tennessee State didn't take the bait on that. Like they didn't say we're not playing on marches. We're going to play the exact opposite of a march. We're going to play Gin and Juice. So I don't necessarily know if I would have responded that way. I kind of feel like with the music that Tennessee State has, kind of like the Star Trek the Star Trek theme, I would have thought they would have played something like that. Something that's not a march, but still something that does show off the ability versus, okay, a band has played something at me. They really want to show how well they can play. All right, let me play like the simplest arrangement I have. I just thought that was kind of interesting. So FAMU came back with the drill mix, I guess, which was a Case of the X, an Independent Woman, and 911. And FAMU really continued to show that they have great, really, really good articulation and good overall sound. Tennessee State came back and played Try Again by Aaliyah, which I thought was very, very well articulated. That song is, that might be a song I would counter a march with, because if you guys are familiar with the original song, Aaliyah, produced by Timberland, that's got a lot going on. I can't remember how the keyboard part that goes in that song is, but it's crazy. It's all over the place. And so good work on that. FAMU came back with yet another march. Why? Okay. I don't understand why they did that. Okay, you've done the march. If a band plays something else, if you have now switched to something else, then don't go back to playing marches. You know, if you're going to keep playing marches, that's fine. That's all good. But once you have switched over from something else, don't go back to a march. I don't know I'm not familiar with this march. Maybe it was the Invictus. I'm not sure. But I thought they had great sound and great articulation. Tennessee State came back and played the song. I don't know what this was, but it's the one that, you know, dun, 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 dun. I thought the tubas kind of had a bad entrance on that. The really, really low note that they hit was really cool. It started to shake out of tune a little bit, but just the nail that low note was awesome. I really thought, though, that Tennessee State is starting to, this year, I think they're starting to show some bad habits from other bands, which is not something I'm used to from Tennessee State. I'm used to Dr. Davenport, Tennessee State having that same type of sound that Alabama A&M plays with. And I'm used to that no matter who they have blowing at them, that they stay in control of the Tennessee State sound. And it sounds like they have started to, you know, when you have a band blow at you with maximum power enough times, it is hard to keep your sound. It's very hard. You know, with Southern just blowing their brains out at you, it makes you as a player want to begin to, well, let me show you that I'm louder than any trombone player you have in your band. But you being a louder individual trombone player does not help your band at all. Matter of fact, it makes your band sound worse. And it seems that some of those things, you can listen to the battle and you can start to hear Tennessee State not necessarily playing with the control that I've heard them have before, particularly in the mellophones on this particular song. FAMU responded with Getaway. I thought that was great. Those guys can really, really play. I don't like that the one of the runs at the end of the song is replaced by a percussion lick. I just don't like that at all. Tennessee State came back and played Backstreet Is Back. Interesting song. I thought the tuba sound was kind of blasty a little bit, but trombone sounded fantastic on their melodies. Tubas really need to get their articulations together. FAMU then responded with yet another march, and my comments there are, FAMU, stop with the marches. I'm all for playing marches. I think marches sound good, and, you know, play them until you run out of them, or play them until it's time to move on. But it's not, you know, a good, what do we call it, Joe? Game calling, what do we call it? Play calling. Good play calling doesn't involve you playing a march and then you going several songs into the fifth quarter and going to several different matches and playing different things back and forth and now going back to a march. Once you play Getaway to show how good that you are, you don't need to go back to a march. Don't do it. And they did it. And so I'm sure from a lot of people's perspective, them doing that 2 times in a row now, basically switching to something and then going back to March, really kind of hurt them in their, and they were really starting to get booed by the audience, at least the Tennessee State audience. Next after that was the Star Trek. I didn't hear it on Friday night. I did hear it then. I thought it was blasty, and I think the articulations weren't very tight on that. FAMU hit the Fly to the Bumblebee. And I don't know, it sounded like there was a big mistake there. I don't know if you heard that, but it's like, it sounded like only the woodwinds were playing at the beginning or something. And then all of a sudden the rest of the band came in. I don't know if I heard that right because I didn't have the chance. You know, Periscope, you can't go back. So I don't know if I heard that right, but I swear I heard the woodwinds playing by themselves and then the trumpets playing. Fly to the Bumblebee needs a lot of work. It's great that they can really play fast, but the fact that you can play really fast like that doesn't necessarily mean that you're playing in tune. The baritones in particular, you can really hear the intonation issues. It's not perfect yet. It needs a lot more woodshed to really make it fantastic. The higher notes in particular, like, you know, when they get to that, that's really starts to get out of tune there. And I think the culprit is really those baritones that we have to focus on that. The next song that Tennessee State plays.
Well, hold on, Rashad. We actually got a caller here, and we actually went over time, man. So let's go ahead and get to this call. A caller from the 334 area code. Go ahead and give us your name and where you're calling from tonight.
What's going on, everybody? This is Barney Smart II. How you doing?
Oh, Barney, what's going on, man? What's going on tonight, man?
I'm doing well. Y'all, I'm telling you, man. I'm sitting here listening, and I it's just like deja vu. We had this same conversation like 2 days in a row. Everything y'all talking about. I had a Saturday. I had a same conversation with a couple band directors about everything from intonation, blowing loud. The musicianship is losing. Everything, man. Everything y'all saying, it's y'all hit it right on the head tonight, man. It's awesome conversations, awesome topics, man. And Brother Davenport, man, it's good to hear your voice again.
Man, good to hear yours too.
Yes, sir. And Rashad is always working hard. Boy, I tell you, you on everything, man. I see black man popping up everywhere. Rashad, he don't. Could you sleep, brother? Do you sleep at all?
I don't think I do. Not much, brother.
That's a hustling man right there. But I tell you, he working hard, man. All you guys working hard. I appreciate everything y'all doing, man. Everything. But
that's what's up, man.
Yeah, man. It's just my biggest thing, man, is Kevin hit it really hard, and it's about when I was, and I sound like one of them old heads for real. When I was coming up in the band, but I'm tired of hearing when you got these bands that play way above their octave. Like I'm tired. Why is the tubas or the sousaphone playing piccolo versions? You know what I mean? Why are they so high? I mean, you don't need that. It's the bass line's supposed to be low and groovy. That's it. And we had this discussion. I reflect back to hearing one of the topics my dad was talking about. He always said every song and every part has a story to tell. So when you're writing these songs, you're giving your version, your interpretation of the original piece, but it's still going to tell the same story at the end of the song. So how well is like someone like a narrator. Do you want to have James Earl Jones reading it, or do you want to have Chris Rock reading it? You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I mean, and you guys hit it because I fought a lot of these, and I might step on some toes here, but I fought a lot of these young band directors who lost hindsight of what actually being a musician is, and teaching it to these kids to the next level. So if that mentality keeps on going, oh man, we're gonna have to work twice as hard to get back where the foundation, and that's my biggest thing. Y'all have to excuse my voice. I just got back from homecoming, so my voice is gone.
Yeah, we actually saw your video from homecoming, so shout out to 8 to 5 Entertainment. What did you think of, I'm sure you had a good time, but what did you think of the fifth quarter battle? Or, what did you think of the two bands overall?
Well, that wasn't my footage. I'm actually trying to do my footage now as we speak. But the overall, man, those two bands are they're just alike, being with their arrangements. Some of the arrangements may sound the same, but they're both well quality balanced sounds, on each side. And not trying to be biased here, but I'm biased, but Carlton Wright and Mario Warren, man, have done a remarkable job with that program up there, man. And this is somebody who marched for A&M, and no disrespect to all the past writers and band directors, but man, there's like they say, like there's you can hear the difference. You really can hear the difference,
Yeah.
And a lot of times when I edit videos, tape don't lie. Tape does not lie. So when I sit there and I put my headphones on while I'm editing, you can really hear. It's so crystal clear. So when you guys, when you're on the, I just recommend to everybody, every time, if you don't do it, put some headphones on and listen to every band that you listen to. You can hear the definition. You can hear the quality. You can hear the degree of difficulty in their arrangements. So it's hats off to those guys up there, man. They're doing a great job. But yeah, the halftime shows, they're both were good. Homecoming, you always try to cater to the old school when they come back and all that kind of stuff. But it was both bands did a great show. Fifth quarter, I'm glad they did 5 and out. because it was starting to rain a little bit here and there. I had to get my equipment back in, so playing up and down the stairs because of the rain, that was crazy. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it was overall both bands did a great performance. You know, they're so much alike, and they're, you know, I talked to one member of UAP band, alumnus. He said, man, A&M probably the best band that we're ever going to go against because of the sound that they have. They're so similar, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's outstanding, man. That's outstanding. I know. I was really excited when I saw the tape. You know, that was kind of something that I hit on. That was like a sleeper battle for me, as far as like something that we weren't expecting. You know, we were always focusing on like the FAM and Tennessee State matchup, but you know, this turned out to be my favorite battle of the weekend, just because I thought they were good. A&M has the more mature sound, and they've had it for the last couple of years. So like they're like further along than UAPB. But UAPB, they had like spots where they were like brilliant. You know what I mean? But then other spots. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm gonna tell you something, and you can look. Just watch the fifth quarter, you know. And I hate to focus on the fifth quarter, but my point I'm trying to make is look at the positions of the musicians. You don't see all that jarring up and down of the shoulders, trying to overflow. You understand what I'm saying? They're not what they call what the kids call yanking. You know, they're not. You don't see that, but and you know, and that is like it is a sacrilegious thing right now. It's common. So, but you can see on both sides, they're not doing all that huffing and puffing, I'm trying to squeeze this last note. I'm trying to blow out my eyeballs out on this last little note, you know. and you can tell there's a difference. That's what you call coaching, and that's what you call creating a type of atmosphere and a culture that, you know, both bands, man, I'm telling you, they're going to visit each other every year. So you might as well go ahead and put that on your calendar. They're going to visit each other every year.
That's what's up, man. Well, yeah, I know I enjoyed it.
Right.
I know I definitely enjoyed it. But I gave the edge. I mean, I gave the edge to Alabama A&M in the stands. Yeah, just because of that maturity of the sound. And, like, they've been on the come-up now for a little while now. And I like the play calling, you know. UAPB did have they had a good little assortment of songs, though. They had a lot of the old-school slow jams, you know, they were playing. But it's just, you know, when Alabama A&M would play back something, you know, with the more mature sound, you know what I mean? It just was, you know, you just kind of just edged it to them. But I was really excited to see that. I'll keep you on right quick, Barney, because we about to close down right quick. I don't have that much time left. I'll just go through my right quick. I was on Periscope not that much this week, but saw much more videos. The fifth between Tennessee State and FAM, like Ashlee was saying, the connection was like going in and out. Like the audio was really, really bad. However, I like marches. You know, I know everybody is tripping off the marches, but I like marches. I like FAM that they play so many marches during the battle, because just like, you know, Dr. Davenport said, you're showing off the technicality. It might not be the greatest, but what do you have to answer? You know, if you know I'm going to throw so many marches at you, then throw something back that's going to, you know, eliminate that or get you out of your, your game plan that you have for the day. You know what I mean? I like that. The announcers, as far as across the board, I don't really know what to do with them. Announcing, some of them are really bad and some of them are good. I hope we can find a balance. But, yeah, just some of the announcers can actually take away from the performance sometimes. Something I just noticed, but that's been going on since a long time, for a while. The State Fair Classic, shout out to the State Fair Classic. Every time I see it just off gate, I just think State Farm. I just keep thinking State Farm. But then I had to look close at State Fair Classic. Prarie View A&amp is underrated to me. I know they were really, really good, and people were scared of them back in the early 2000s, and I think they were at one of the first Hondas, and they did really well. Of course, their drum section is always featured. But I thought they had a really good show. I like how they sound. They have a nice, complete, full sound, and it's like they listen to each other. You know, I also think that they have really good energy on the dance routine and just a really good performance. Them and Morgan State had the best performances of the weekend. Morgan State blew me away. I know we've been having Morgan State on. They were on our the awards, 2015 Marching Podcast Awards. You guys can check that out, or if you're listening, you can type that in on the page if you follow. But we had them as one of the bands on the come up. Well, I definitely think they arrived. They sounded the best to me this weekend. I mean, they definitely, even with Alabama A&M, it was like Nick and Nack, and they were on the field. So I was really, really impressed with them, and I think that their numbers are actually a little bit bigger than what I was expecting.
Yeah, they are bigger.
I'm always expecting Morgan and like Savannah State and like Bowie to be small. But those bands, those little East Coast band, Mid-Atlantic, they on the come up, man, and they sound good and they look good. And like Barney saying and like Dr. Davenport saying, as far as yanking and all that, it's not so much of that because it feels like they playing within themselves. And same thing with Central State. I feel like because they small, they don't have the Jackson State numbers, but they not like trying to go out there and play outside themselves. So definitely some good coaching, good maturity. Brother Key, I know I got him on Facebook. And like you said, I know Mario Warren, but I didn't know that the headband director there at Alabama A&M. But I like what Prarie View is doing. I like what Morgan State is doing. So shout out to the people there. There's right quick. I think Ashlee brought it up about Tennessee State having flags now, so that's new.
Yeah.
Halftime, as far as FAMU and Tennessee State, I only saw FAM. But I like I think there's so many people on the field. I feel like they're good with uniformity. They look very similar to each other, very similar to Bethune-Cookman. But I like what I like what FAM is doing right now. They don't need to get any bigger or do anything else. FAM, y'all straight. But of course that ain't gonna be the case next year. They'll be like 300 plus or whatever. But stop singing. Stop singing. Stop playing gospel songs at the Fifth when it's supposed to be all about like ignorance and everything opposite than church. Don't bring church in the Fifth. I mean, I love church, but don't do it because it's too many emotions. It's like, oh, that was so good. They're so good. No, keep to the gangster stuff. Y'all need a little bit more gangster stuff in your book a little bit, I think. Then you'll be straight. But overall, I guess the UAPB Alabama A&M was like the sleeper battle. I thought it was good. It was like something good. Shout out to National Show Band Association. I think it's Walter Williams, right? I think it's his name. He be on Periscope, rolling down the street, listening to band music in his car on Periscope, and that's like so tight to me. He have it on his face, and he be bobbing his head. You know what I'm saying? I think that's really cool, man. So shouts out to you. I'm not the only person to listen to band music. What'd you say, Rashad?
He's a football player. He's a football player.
Him and Darius, both were football players. So it's a trip to see that they into bands like that. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, man, shouts out to you. I think that's all I had. I probably had some other things, but I see the time. I want to give you guys some time to close out. Dr. D, you have anything to close out the show for tonight?
No, I think we had a good discussion here, and I hope more people are listening to. We are now starting to give props and attention to bands that play musically as opposed to loud. And I think that's something that we need to continue to do, is really give props to those bands that are playing musically. You know, a lot of the excitement over loud is because they get a lot of hype for playing loud. But us as musicians, that's not where our focus needs to be. That's all I got. And
everyone, he is 100% correct. Like, he's not spoken the truth. But the ignorance, though, don't zero it out now. I mean, you right, but man, boy, when somebody's like super loud, like, oh my God, I mean, I get excited, but we definitely need to find that medium. But shout out to Dr. D and the Park and Blow reference. That's Talladega. Talladega is Park and Blow, full wide open. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? So they're exciting. They're just exciting just to have that Rex Ryan approach here in our craft. Barney, what's up, man? I'll give you some time. You want to say anything before we close out tonight?
Basically, man, this was a great topic tonight. I think you guys hit it right on the head as far as some of the situations, the issues that we have in our craft. But yeah, I mean, you guys hit it on the head. We'll Double Time Entertainment will be in this weekend. We're going to be doing the A&T. The North Carolina Central A&T game this week, and we're going to also be doing we're Jackson State Grambling. We're going to be doing both of those. So this weekend. And one more thing, real quick, you guys say a prayer for the football player from Southern, man, who got in that accident. He's partially paralyzed from that game against Georgia. So keep your prayers up for him and his family in the Southern University Jaguar Nation. But yeah, prayers going out to him and his family and the whole university. But that's all I got, man. Appreciate what you guys doing, man. Y'all are awesome. Y'all great for our culture.
Thanks, man. Rashad, what's going on, man? You got anything before we close out?
Yeah, man. My main thing, I would just like to say a little bit more improvement upon our Periscope viewers. Because, one thing that I've noticed that we can all agree on is that there's no band that sounds good. Nobody sounds good. It doesn't matter if you're small is good. It doesn't matter if you're Southern Jackson, North State, nobody. You don't sound like a high school band. Oh, man, that's too loud, man. That sounds terrible. It's like everything is bad. With few things that you say, oh, yeah, that was pretty good. And I would just kind of like us to be a little bit more positive. Like, for example, the FAMU Tennessee State game, particularly FAMU is playing their tails off. Now, you might not like the stuff that they played, and you might want to go to sleep on what they played, but we got to give props to the fact that here's a band that can play all of this music and can play it from memory. I think that is such a positive stamp on our culture, Right. Playing this music from memory, and here we are doing it. We've got to give them props for saying, yeah, you should have played something else, but the fact that you played that was awesome. So I just want to put that out there.
It's funny you say that because, again, it's kind of the same thread we were just talking about. It's just that, man, the bandhead community, we are tough. Like what you just said, if you put that on the fifth, someone will respond, man, I don't want to hear that, man. Get out of here, man. Like, it might be a couple people like, you are correct, Rashad, like, blah, 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 blah. But we are tough. I remember trying to start the whole show. I was like, hey, would you guys like a podcast talking about marching bands and, we're going to build scholarships? Everybody was like, man, hell no. Get that out of here. And I'm on the fifth. And I was like, well, damn. Like, well, what? But, man, we are definitely hard on each other. I think I remember someone a couple months ago put on, out there like, oh, yeah, everyone should try to, and they just ran him out. He probably will never log in to the forum again, But, man, maybe you're right. And I don't know if it's us. I don't know if it's cultural things, but definitely let's start extending, I guess, understanding the big picture of things. We all in this together. And when we ain't talking about each other's schools, no one else is really talking about it in that much of a positive light. So I definitely think we could check ourselves on some level on some of the things we are saying to each other. You know what I mean? Some trash talk is good because that's what you learn when you go to a HBCU. You learn how to talk trash, definitely. But you bring up a good point. But we be killing each other. One brother, when I first started the show, was calling it the 45-degree show because I went to Jackson State.
Oh, man. Hey, Joe, can I get one other thing? Do you have time for that?
You say what now?
Can I get one other thing? You have time for that?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
One other thing I want to say here is that as universities, we need to really make sure that we're taking care of our bands because, it was years ago. I don't know if Dr. Davenport remembers this better than I do, but there was a time where HBCUs had some of the best football programs in the nation. Mm-hmm. And what ended up happening is that, some of the predominantly white schools saw the talent that was out there and started throwing all kinds of money at these students. And now you have your things like your University of Georgia versus Southern, where they'll be 48-6 and that type of stuff. And that's going to happen with our bands as well if we don't start throwing them some money. There's a lot of talk about how great a job at Southern has done. And pretty much any time an HBCU band goes to perform at a PWC school, it's always like, wow, the band was great. How long do we think that's going to keep happening before somebody says, you know what, let's get rid of the band director that we have, and we're going to bring in a band. We're going to bring in Kevin Davenport and have him teach our band to do what they're doing over there, and we're going to pay him $120,000. We're going to pay him $200,000 a year. We need to think about.
I'm in.
All right. Because we don't.
Uh-oh. He was in the middle of saying something. Rashad? Okay. He was in the middle of saying Barney and Dr. Davenport. I don't know if you guys are still with us. But I guess
I'm still here.
Okay. All right. I guess that's. I don't know if you guys are going to cut off soon or two, but I think that's the ending of the show. That might be my studio time closing down. That's all gravy in the Navy, even though it looks like I got a little 3 minutes here. It's all good. Appreciate the time. Appreciate Brother Smart. Appreciate Brother Davenport. Appreciate you, Ashlee. Thanks again for your time, again for agreeing to do the show. Also, thanks for Rashad. Thanks for everyone that called, and thanks to all the people on Periscope and all the HBCU videographers. I didn't do this before, but if you are interested in becoming a sponsor or a patron to the Marching Podcast, please contact the show so we can give you the criteria so we can start to put up your business using our platform. We'll play your commercial. We'll show your icon on our broadcast. We'll post your website on our blog, and we'll help send out information through social media. So contact us so we can build your business. That's all the time we have for the show tonight. Check out the website and donate what's in your heart to themarchingpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks to you for listening. And remember, the lectures you deliver may be very fine and true, but I'd rather get my lesson by observing what you do. See you next time.